Let me tell a quick story. You and I worked, or did you work with them? I can't remember. Remember when, I'm going to just use her name, when Kelly Garrett, do you remember meet Kelly Garrett?
Of course.
We were working with Kelly Garrett. And so Kelly Garrett did story from the core, and which is kind of how the writer's adventure is, like another version of, really. And we worked on her book for a while, and it was like really hard for a while. And then this thing popped open where we realized, oh my gosh, Kelly, everything in your book happens in a dragon's den. Everything happens in a dragon's den, even though nothing literal happened in the dragon's den at all. There was nothing going on in her book in a dragon's den. But every time she would talk to me about the lessons that she was trying to give, she would say, well, it's like there's a dragon in a cave, and there's a princess, and there's a blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, tell me about this cave. Well, and there's things in the way, but there's gold. And I was like, oh my gosh, Kelly, do you get it? Your entire book lives in the realm of the world of dragons. And she loves dragons. She's like, oh my gosh, let me show you this thing. And she took me through this walk of her house, and she showed me this beautiful, all the dragons that she had collected in her life. And so even though the plot of her book and the delivery of her book and all of that had nothing to do with dragons, her inner life understood and understands dragons. And once we had the context for that, everything began to shift.
That's such a great example, Tina. And I think, if I were to choose two words to explain that, I would say it's the metaphorical setting.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
your book might take you all over the world, yet the whole time you're still in grandma's house with tea cozies.
I love that. I totally love that.
You can't really escape from it. Settings change, but you can't escape from the realm. 7 books of one realm.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What I love about that, if we attach this to movie language, what we're really trying to connect the dots for you here is to, when I think about Three Billboards, which is one of my favorite movies ever, I've watched it 3 times, Frances McDormand, the realm of that story, it lives in the land of despair. It lives in the land of frustration, financial hardship. And each character is somehow connected to that. And you're in Three Billboards because every scene, financial hardship, despair, frustration. That's the journey we're on. Mm-hmm. And film does that really, really, really well. And your book will too. And you've got to make some choices. That's the thing that's why we're here, is you're just starting right now. And you need to choose, you need to make some choices to let your reader always know where they are. And that's not just literally where they are, but that every chapter feels like it's in the same book.
Well, and also right now, I think it's important to give yourself the chance to explore different realms and what they feel like for you as a writer.
I like that too, especially because they may not know, right? Like you may not know what realm your book is in right now. So explore which ones.
And when we're talking about myth, because that's what we're in the myth boot camp. There, myth is connected to like dream time, dream worlds. It's about the subconscious. It's about the unliteral. So, if you can get yourself into the flow of writing and the rhythm of that, and let the writing sort of take over from that place where you're stopping and starting and asking questions, the realm will emerge. I really hope. Or various realms will emerge, and you'll know which one is the right one eventually.
Another reason why realm is important in your writing is realm often establishes mood It establishes tone. It can hold the genre of the book that you're in. And so when you go back into the prompts that you did this morning, that were all sensory, right? And you go back, which of course are connected to what you did last night, which is all about those inspirations. We're now, it's like we're taking the spotlight that was this big and we're making it kind of do this. Not that it isn't rich and wide, but it's just getting denser and more specific. And so what we want you to do today in the rest of another assignment or in furthering of your writing to moving toward your 2,500 word goal, potentially grab one of the writing prompts that is really alive for you or really speaks to mood and tone and genre and develop a scene around it. You know, color that scene for us. Play the whole scene out. Take that 500 words and maybe make it 1,500 words. Give us the scene. What's going on in your head, Mary Beth?
I just want to give them some really literal ways to do that. You know, this morning we gave you prompts about that were sensory. So, you know, you might want to dive into those prompts and go deeper on that sensory path. But, you know, I always like to approach things too from what are the questions that we ask that can take us to realm. We've spoken about symbolism. So I don't know, maybe you're going to be looking for the symbols that tip us off about what realm we're in. I gave the example of the untrimmed hedgerows, right? That is a symbol. So think about the ideas you want to convey and the emotional impact that you want to convey. So even if you can make notes to yourself and say, okay, this is the emotion that this scene has. What emotion does this scene carry? And as I write, what words do I use to convey that emotion?
Yeah.
And then what sensory words do I use to convey that emotion? So it's about peeling the layers and finding different ways in. This exercise might be a little bit more challenging, but I urge you to just keep experimenting with ways in to the realm.
And if you're not sure where to go because you need an example, grab any novel on your bookshelf, any single novel, and open a page.
But a lot of people are not writing novels, but let's also remember that although those realms are also available in nonfiction too.
Yeah.
And they're
so
really important.
Open any page, page.
First line of the nonfiction book on my desk. You want to hear it?
Yes, I do.
Headless torsos and severed heads were everywhere, tossed up on the riverbank or entangled among the debris of shattered boats and tree branches in the bloodied water.
Okay, what book is that?
It's research.
For
my book.
So what I'm trying to get at here is every word on a page is a sentence that creates a visual in the reader's head. Every sentence does. Every sentence is a world in itself. And that's all we're saying. So here I've got a book, Native Wisdom for White Minds, not fiction. So many Native people talk about life as a never-ending circle in which we move. There is something comforting about a circle. There is freedom in a circle because we know that we will be returning. We find circles in nature often. So what realm was that in? Circles. That's what I saw. In fact, I saw, and I happen to know what it is, Native Wisdom for White Minds, but I saw gatherings in circles. Right? That's what I saw. Like everything is a realm. Everything in your book is a realm. So this isn't about learning how to be the best at doing realms. It's about getting words on the page that come from somewhere. That's where we're wanting you to go today. So again, potentially go back to your prompts if that speaks to you, go back to your inspirations if that speaks to you. If none of that speaks to you and you're super jacked and inspired because you've got a scene in your head, write that. But write a scene today.
Yeah.
Add some more words to your manuscript. All right. We'll see you. We've got some inspiration for you coming. You'll see that in our next video, and then on to tomorrow. Okay, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.